Welcome back to the Frith Guild podcast. I'm your host, Eric.
And I'm co-host Scott.
And today we'll be going over chapters 1 through 5 of Grandmaster Arcanist. We are on the 8th and final book of the series with the Frith Chronicles. Before we get into today's chapters, we will want to mention that we have the Frith Chronicles Wiki link down in the description below, along with the Capital Station Discord server if you'd like to go in and join in on the conversation over there. There's always lots of fun things going on over there. Along with that, we are going to mention that DragonCon nominations is due by July 19th. So we want to make sure we get Shammy nominated so that way she can go to DragonCon and so that she can win it, because we all know we want her to win.
Yes, gold medal.
Exactly. And with that, we're getting into chapter 1 of Grandmaster Arcanist.
Chapter 1 is to find Luther, and after getting tricked by Shammy once with the chapter titles, I figured this was probably going to be another one, not to get my hopes up as much. But we pick up kind of where we left off in the last book. So Orwin had brought Akiva to Volke, asking if Volke could heal Akiva. Volke did agree in order to exchange information with Luther's whereabouts, as well as the whereabouts of Vethica. So Akiva not doing so hot after getting splashed with magma. Addie and Titania come out and start the healing process. Meanwhile, the rest of the group starts to prepare to head to Deadman's Bluff, which is where Luther and Vethica are supposed to bring. Volke decides that he's going to bring Ilya with him, as well as Eventide and Zelfrey. He is going to leave Zaxxas to watch over Callista, which I feel like is potentially a poor decision, but he trusts Zaxxas, and so we'll see how that goes.
And with that, we get into chapter 2, Happy Travels. Here we freaking go. We're on the road again. So with this, Ilya is the first to arrive to Terracotta, and I was kind of surprised because I thought Hexa was going to, but apparently not.
Raisin's slow.
Yeah, I guess it's pretty much because of Raisin, so we'll give her that. Something exciting going on that side.
Yeah. Party or something.
One thing I had to think about, because Shammy even mentioned it in the book, that as Raisin is like lumbering through Hydra's Gorge, that he's basically making all this noise. It's the middle of the night. All these people are probably waking up and looking out the window and being like, meh, it's another Hydra just running along.
Just their form of dogs barking as these Hydras just lumbering through the gorge.
They're like, oh, okay, it's just the Hydras, nothing important. Go back to sleep. Volke did not mention to Eviana that they were leaving, and he asked Adelgis to pass along the information. Volke, you need to do better, okay?
I'm not saying I'm good about these things, but I know that one's a poor decision.
And she's even brought it to his attention.
Yeah.
She did him a solid and was like, hey, like, this is what I would like. Come on, Volke, you gotta do better. Anyways, Zelfrey is coming up as well because he's going to be joining us along with Eventide. And Zelfrey's starting to look like he's cleaning himself up a bit. You know, he's looking a little bit dapper, I'd say. Got his hair cut nice and probably doesn't reek of booze. Now, the other thing I wonder about is someone traveling. So, like, at this point, people use the terrain as their guide, right? It's not like they have GPS, they don't have Google Maps or anything like that. So they have to depend on the terrain to remember where they are, where they're going, and how they got there. You know, that kind of thing, how to get back. When Terracotta goes through, like, I know things change and get kind of put back together, but imagine like a giant boulder that just kind of gets rolled out of the way. Do you think that giant boulder gets put back in the same spot, in the same way?
I can't imagine it does. And even like the times when they intentionally change the terrain, like, could you imagine, like, you leave Hydra's Gorge for a little bit and come back and suddenly there's 112 steps going down into the...
And a random cluster of trees?
Yeah, you're like, I was gone for a week.
So, because I can only imagine how confused that some of these travelers would be on their way back through and be like, wait a minute, that boulder is way not in the right spot. And This isn't how it was when I left, was it? Now, we do find out as they stop and are taking their break that Zelfrey has stopped drinking and he's coping better. And Hexa points out, like, oh, did somebody tell you about the mushrooms that are like?
Might not have wanted to drop that one in front of the recovering. That does bring us to chapter 3, which is the Folly of Brigands. The Folly of Brigands. So as they're going on their trek, they do hear a few people crying out for help. Volke is kind of debating what to do, and Eventide's like, come on, we're the Frith Guild, we help people. It's kind of what we do. We gotta go help these people. This won't take long. We've got a true form. We've got a god creature with us. We'll be fine. They do end up finding 2 mystic seekers who are dead on the side of the path, and they give chase to the people that have robbed them. They end up following them back to a mine shaft, and they are hiding in the mine shaft, and Volke is able to use his tremor sense to learn that they actually stole pegasi. Volke then, kind of in his now coined move, alters the terrain to force them out of the mine shaft to where he can kill one, and after one dies, the rest kind of realize they're a little bit out of their league and surrender themselves.
We have to remember these are Orthoris, Arcanist, and Eldrin, so the 2-headed dogs. And they're described as being as large as a horse. And Volke just kind of nonchalantly like slashes the one down the middle. And doesn't even, in my headcanon, he just does this badass, like slashes it as it's like leaping at him. He doesn't even move. And then it was just like, oh, I got a little blood on my shirt.
It has that little just like standing moment of just like the one sword swing, doesn't step or anything, just cleaves it in half. Just like brush that off real quick.
So again, Volke is getting so badass and OP at this point that it's just so epic. Longer the days where he was being affected by his second bonding magic with Luther, you know?
Barely cast any magic at all.
And with that, we get into chapter 4, Deadman's Bluff. They're getting closer to Deadman's Bluff. It is basically this little podunk town that literally is just there for a port, a jailhouse, a courthouse, some village huts, I guess. I mean, I'm not trying to make them sound like super primitive. There we go. Fairly small houses and the evil people. Now, they are in such a podunk town that even the World Serpent Arcanist shows up and just drops some people off and deuces out. Like,
no big deal.
No big deal.
This happens daily.
Like, they don't even know who he is. They're just like, okay, you're a person.
That's a big snake he got there.
When there's this little kid, I love the story. The little kid just like he wants to touch Terracana, and Volke and Terracana have that like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And Terracana tries to be non-threatening, but giant, massive serpent, and just moves his tail over so that the kid could touch it. Like, oh my gosh, I got to touch him. Again, doesn't know who this is. So we get to Deadman's Bluff. We start to make our plan. We decide that we're not going to go in half-cocked, so thank you for not bringing Zaxxas with us, because that's totally what would have happened, no matter what. And we're going to go in there with some kind of caution. They decide to teleport to the edge of the town, because obviously Terracana has already probably been seen at this point, because how massive he is. And they get to the edge of the town. Volke's like, let me unbutton a couple more buttons on my shirt, so that way it's sort of visible. And I feel like Ilya just like rips it, like, nope. Going full Zaxxas here. You might as well take it off. Walk around, stretch your stuff, Volke. You're a freaking World Serpent Arcanist, okay? One of the oddities of this town, with just having a courthouse, a jail, and the gallows as their main attraction, and there's nobody walking around at all. kind of a weird kind of thing, and they decide that they're going to investigate the houses before they have a chance to get surprised, like we did when we're back near Hydra's Gorge, when, you know, basically stage a shit ton of monsters to come out and attack and start using his aura. So, you know, at least we know he's not there, but again, still don't know what's going to be in this town.
Brings us to chapter 5, prisoner experiments. So one lonely person kind of got sent out, and you can tell he got the short straw and is like coming out, unfortunately. And as he's talking with Volke and Co., he mentions that, yeah, there are these experiments that have been going on. Obviously, Volke is sure that these are second ascension, trying to figure out more plague or other dastardly tactics that they can come up with. So they end up going to the jail, and when they get to the jail, he can sense that someone is hiding out in the basement. So next course of action is to kind of make our way into the basement and see, one, what these experiments are like, and two, find out if Bethica and Luther are actually there.
So as soon as they cut the lock off before the end of the chapter, it uses the disintegrating flames to open the door. And then Hexa is just like, it could be Bethica down there, and just runs off.
She's the new Zaxxas.
Like, we left Zaxxas at home for a reason.
I know. And anytime she runs away, all I can think of is poor Raisin, like, lumbering behind her, like, wait, I'm coming.
I mean, Zelfrey even gives them a little bit of a pat on the back for learning.
Yeah, they're slowly learning. It took them years, but they finally learned.
Hey, you know, as some people in the Marine Corps told me, if you're not going to be smart, you're going to be strong, and there's some strong characters in this book.
Some very strong characters.
So with that ends chapter 5 this week. We don't have any new creatures to talk about in the bestiary. I know we're getting close to, with this coming out in June, we're getting close to getting our second bestiary to come out. I don't know if everybody saw the update with the Kickstarter email. Unfortunately, we're going to have to wait just a little bit longer for some of the artwork to get finished up, along with the leatherwork that I believe Henry Copeland is the person doing the leatherworking for the maps for those that purchased that tier in the Kickstarter. But you know what? It is worth the wait. I know we waited for quite a while with the first bestiary. I don't think it'll be anything as extreme as long as that wait was, but it is 100% well worth the wait when we get it. So with that, we'll catch you guys next week. Scott, did you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, all set.